And so welcome everybody. Many of you I know have been on with us all day and heard the first two presentations, and we're going to continue on with an amazing interactive experience with Claire Dubois, founder of Tree Sisters. And for any of you who are just signing on now, if you haven't already put your name and your location in the chat, go ahead and do that now. I would love to see where everybody is calling in from. We have some people here from all over the world at this point, and would love to see where any new participants are coming in from. So welcome, Claire. Thank you so much for agreeing to be a part of this event and for adding your wisdom and everything that you're about to share with us in this amazing experience. I can't wait to see how it unfolds.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me, Jocelyn.
Yeah, and let me just read a little your bio for everybody, just for those who may not already know you. So Claire Dubois founded Tree Sisters after a car crash that delivered a life-changing message. She was told that the tropics needed to be reforested within 10 years, that women were the missing piece in the climate change crisis, and that feminine consciousness needed to be reinstated or it's over. A free radical and unlikely leader, Claire is an earth-loving social entrepreneur and inspirational speaker who worked for 18 years within the personal growth sector before becoming the volunteer UK coordinator for a massive agroforestry initiative in southern India called Project Green Hands, or PGH. Through her 3 years with PGH, she distilled the social mobilization strategy that is catalyzing a population to reforest their land. And she now turns that toward the mobilization of women within Tree Sisters, a women's crowdfunding campaign to direct the brilliance, creativity, and generosity of women towards the reforestation of the tropics. So wonderful and amazing work that you are doing, Claire.
Thank you, love.
Yeah, thank you. And so your topic for today is reinstating the feminine to reclaim wholeness, an embodied journey into your own self-discovery. So I guess I'd love to start by learning a little bit about what we're going to go into today, and I think it starts with a map, right? The Tree Sisters map.
It does start with the Tree Sisters map. So for those of you that don't know anything about Tree Sisters, the whole thing has been a remarkable, gosh, what would you even call it? Journey stimulated by life. So the car crash, I was basically given this project fully formed, its name, its function, its purpose, its mission. Basically, we're looking at, I hear myself about to say this and it's just seemed like, really? You know, looking at a human identity shift from a consumer species to a restorative species. And women's role and feminine consciousness's role within that. And I say feminine consciousness because that exists inside both men and women, as I'm sure all your other speakers have been talking about. And women are the natural carriers, and women have been so subjugated within that side of themselves. So it's like our reclamation of our own feminine consciousness and then our own feminine leader as a reflection of that is crucial to what we're doing, because we're trying to A, restore balance between the masculine and the feminine, and B, show that there is a different consciousness and different solutions and intelligence that come through when the masculine and feminine are in balance. So the Tree Sisters map is literally a woman's body, and you're going to lie down in it. So when you lie down on your back with your arms and legs out like a starfish, you're in one way a 5-pointed star. And the Tree Sisters map is a 5-pointed star inside a circle. So that each of those 5 points, which relate to different human attributes that we all have, are all linked by the circle. And there's actually a flow of energy that goes from point to point to point in a clockwise direction. And what's amazing about that is it's actually the basis of 5-element acupuncture. It's a really, really ancient system or flow of energy that understands that if you've got these 5 things, if there's a problem over here, you don't just stick a needle in there, you look for where the blockage is, and you deal with the blockage so that the energy flows. So the whole process is around putting our consciousness into these different places so that awareness can start to move energy, and energy will always naturally try to find its balance. So we're going to go through literally a physiological rebalancing. And it may be incredibly strong for people, it may be incredibly subtle for others. It may be very emotional for some, it may be absolutely flatline for others. I mean, this is going to be whatever experience your system is ready for in relationship to whatever is in the way between the receptive and the active side of yourself inside of your relationship. So we're basically stepping into a learning process. It's sort of a self-discovery, sort of stirring the pot to see what comes up, what's ready to come up, so that by the end of the process, we will be in a different place to where we started. It may not be it won't be a fully healed, fully transformed place, but it'll be a place that has got more awareness than it did when you started. And you'll have learned about yourself.
Wonderful. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And I guess, well, let me know what you think, because I do want to, bring up just a little bit what Tree Sisters is working on right now. So tell me if you'd rather talk about that now or at the end. Where does it fit in better?
I can talk about it now. I'll talk about it at the end anyway. You know me, you can't stop me.
Yeah, your current initiatives and the amazing work that you all are doing in the world. Maybe we can touch upon that now and then go into the experience.
Well, as I say, we're trying to normalize planetary restoration. We're trying to make it as normal to caretake the natural world as it currently is to take it for granted. It's like the momentum of the consciousness that we've all inherited has been very much this journey into nature is there for us to use. And we can continue to make whatever we want out of it and use it, and it's fine because it's an unending supply, and it's not. 80% of our forests are gone, 80% of our coral is dead or dying. It's like those are the two greatest sources of biodiversity on the planet. And I think that's 80% of what we call our intact forest landscape, our ancient forests. We've got a lot of regrowth, obviously, but still we're chomping through our planet at a rate of knots, and then we're blasting carbon out into the atmosphere. And as Paul Hawken, who's just brought out Project Drawdown, says, no human has lived over 280 parts per million carbon in the atmosphere, and we're past 440 now. So we're in completely uncharted territory. And last time we were over 280 on this planet, there were crocodiles in the Arctic. So we're in radical territory. And yes, we're watching the climate changing. And the solution that was handed to me, which is one of many, many solutions, but it's a strong one because it's nature-based, it's life-based, and it's got so many benefits, is tropical reforestation. Tropical trees sequester carbon 3 times as fast as any other temperate tree. And mangroves sequester 30% more than that. They're in the tropics, so we're planting mangroves. And so if we can normalize everybody in the same way that everything we spend goes on stuff that takes from the planet, if we can start reallocating funds, all of us, towards tropical reforestation, stacks up really fast. We can be planting millions, billions of trees, and we need to basically, carbon dioxide is tree food. Like, trees are carbon made visible. So they're the fastest way to suck it back out of the atmosphere and stabilize. So we're creating a global movement of women who are as passionate as we are about creating a different future for the next generations. Because right now, it's a very, very uncertain and extremely frightening future of, we don't know what they're going to face, but we do know they'll face massive climate extremes, food, water scarcity. And whenever there's massive scarcity, you're talking a lot of potential for war, unless we really transform our psyche. So I'm in the business of what does it take to transform our psyches? What does it take to transform our understanding of ourselves, understandings of each other, and our relationship with the natural world? Because if we can bring all of that into balance, I think naturally we're caretakers, naturally we're stewards, naturally we love. And how do we bring that back as the new norm so that our whole orientation is to restore our world and live in right relationship. So we're currently reforesting in Brazil and Kenya and India and Madagascar. And this year we're planning on a massive campaign, and we're probably going to be including, I hope, a fabulous project in Cameroon, another one in Madagascar, potentially one or two in Nepal. We're looking at Sri Lanka. You know, we're looking for exemplary, beautiful projects that have a lot of women having their lives changed on the ground through, you know, direct relationship with the trees. And I won't stop until every single woman I know and all the women I don't know have joined and are making this normal with me, because I don't see another way. We can't carry on the way we're carrying on.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's so important to recognize what you said, that we are naturally caretakers. You know, pretty much every single origin story of how, you know, how humans began, whether it's indigenous or even in the Bible, says that we are here to steward and take care of the earth and the animals and the plants, and to be caretakers. So that is just such an innate part of us, that you're right. It shouldn't be so hard that, you know, that we can return to that and start to see things from that light again.
I mean, can you imagine? This is my dream. Like, can you imagine you go into a supermarket? There's nothing that you can buy that would poison the earth. Nothing. Because you just don't do it.
Yeah.
Nothing can poison the water because you just don't do it. If you're looking at a building, you know that it is carbon neutral. If you're looking at any form of new design, you know that it has either been recycled, you know, that the consciousness has gone into it, that if it breaks down, it gets repaired. There's no designed obsolescence anymore. Like, certain things that have just become normal become completely abnormal. That everybody that you know is funneling money to ocean cleanup and forest restoration. That's just what we all do, because we're human, and human beings take care of the environment that we're all dependent on. Like, that's the norm of a logical species who want to survive.
Yeah. Yes.
That's what I want. That's what I want. You know, that's what I'll just keep banging on at. It's like, but the difficulty is the inherited momentum. We're inside a normalized mindset. And the normalized mindset is patriarchal, which is power over life, power over the feminine. And anything that's not that then feels abnormal, even though it's actually incredibly abnormal and destructive. It feels normal. And so to try and swing, which is why we're about to do this process of like really moving backwards and forwards between the masculine and the feminine, to feel what's happening inside of us. Because we're all out of balance and we've all normalized it. So let's see.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to also welcome any men who are on the line to participate in this experience as well, because it's not about being men and women. You know, it's about balancing the masculine and feminine within us. And I think actually in a conversation with Sophie, she said that there are men stepping up and saying, we want to be tree brothers. Where's the tree brothers, you know, that we can join? So I think that's just so beautiful. So just want to welcome everybody to participate in this. So Claire, what should we know in advance of entering into this experience?
Well, you should know that my Zoom crashed about 20 times yesterday out of the blue, which has made me feel really calm about this process. But generally speaking, I have no idea what's going on. Generally speaking, every time it went down, it came back up again. So you may have some just really lovely restful pauses. I mean, there'll be restful pauses anyway, because we're in a process where you're going to be deeply listening to yourselves, where I'm just not talking. And you won't be looking at the screen, so you may not even know that I've gone. So it could all just be perfect. But if mid-sentence I vanish, just
we'll know that you'll be back.
I'll be back. But every step of this is about awareness of your body and what's happening in your body and putting your consciousness in your body. And the more you can be fully present, the more you will get out of this process. So this is not a process to do listening to, you know, doing the washing up, or certainly not driving a car or trying to do anything else. It's also a process that you'll need to do where you can't be interrupted. That's really important, because we're doing a complete process and you don't want to step out halfway through, because you're going to feel really lopsided. So whenever you do, it's like having an acupuncture treatment. Like, somebody's not going to walk in the room and like yank all your acupuncture needles out before you're fully cooked. Like, we're trying to go all the way around and experience and come out the end and then integrate it on this call if we can manage it. So please don't start if you're going to suddenly get up and make dinner, or someone can come into the room, or your phone is on. You're going to need your journals, because I'm going to be giving little prompts, mostly the same question again and again, so that you can actually track what's happening. And the point of journaling, and you may not want to and you don't have to, but the point of journaling is that it lands things when you write it. And also it's something that you can then reflect back on. And it's something that if you do this again, because this call will be available to you, you may want to do it again, you can compare what's happened. So when I say, grab your journal, just going to give you 2 minutes, they're not long journaling patches, because we're just trying to get that immediate kind of what's there stream of consciousness without you censoring yourself at all. Towards the end, there might be a longer one. And if you don't want to journal, then what I invite you to do, as weird as it may feel, is to speak out loud. Nobody can hear you. Is just to speak whatever comes, because what you're doing is you're moving energy. You're just allowing. There's no judgment. You don't have to understand. It may not make any sense. But we're trying to move energy. And the best thing that any of us can do when we're trying to move energy is not get in the way of it, not try and understand it before it's moved. And we're stepping into the territory of the masculine and the feminine. This is one of the ouchiest territories, I think, on the planet. Like this, there's big stuff here for all of us. It's unavoidable. It's in our ancestry. It's in our blood. It's in our lives. And so if you find yourself getting thoroughly emotional, get thoroughly emotional. Like, if you want to cry, really cry. If you find yourself getting angry, like, jump up and down or something, like let it move. Like, just understand that when we step into a collective experience, it makes it stronger. It means that we're moving energy together. And so it's a very supported state in the collective field that we'll weave, which means that stuff that might not easily be available to you when you're on your own is more available to you, because there's more light shining, and more light shows up more shadows. And we're not thinking of shadows and uncomfortable feelings as bad. We're welcoming them, because when we put our consciousness, the light of our shared consciousness, into those places, they can literally dissolve. It's like, think of it as sunshine dissolving clouds. We don't need to be attached to them. We don't need to understand them. They can just move, and we can just come out the other end feeling different. So if you feel a lot, great. If you feel nothing at all, great. It'll still be happening. There's no way of getting this right or wrong. And all I'll invite you to do over and over again is literally just feel the sensations in your body. Just understand that whatever is rising in your body, either sensation-wise or emotion-wise, just pay attention to it. That is the light. That's your sunshine. If the thing is a cloud, your awareness and your attention and your presence is the sunshine that can burn it off. And if your psyche needs you to deeply understand it, you'll understand it. And it may not be in this moment. It could be in a dream, or it could be later. Suddenly you realize something. Again, it's like surrendering to the process of unfolding as it comes. It'll do it in its own way. Our psyches really know what they're doing, so we don't have to. I'd like us to step into the whole process from a place of gratitude and acceptance, which we'll be doing. Like, gratitude for all the bits of us that do work and all the bits of us that don't work, and acceptance that we're all, and all the aspects of us that we're going to touch on, are all doing the absolute best that they can in any moment, given what we've all gone through and the survival strategies that we've created. And before we start, we'll come collectively into what I'm calling a prayer circle, where we can actually just collectively ask life to only give us as much as we can handle, so that we're stepping into a safe space. So I think that's, oh, and Jocelyn is going to be You're so brave. Well, there's a caveat here. Jocelyn has decided that she's going to go through the process publicly, unless midway through she decides she doesn't want to. So
I get to opt out at any point, right? It gets too intense. No, I will.
oh, you may absolutely not.
Fully. I intend on seeing it through.
And so I'll be asking us all questions and potentially asking Jocelyn questions. And she may answer, and she may actually get to the point where she just doesn't want to answer anymore. So that's completely fine. And we'll see, because we're experimenting here. Neither of us have ever done this before in this format, whether having Jocelyn's feedback is actually gets in the way of your own personal process, everybody else that's trying to do this, or whether it's actually supportive. So where it helps me is at least understanding how one person is doing, but I'm also going to be like just trying to feel through the field for everybody. So what everybody's going to need to do first is grab a journal and a pen, and you're going to lie down on the floor somewhere, or lie down on the bed, but you're basically going to map yourself out like the Tree Sisters map. So what you'll need, and Jocelyn, if you want to pick up your laptop and take it and show everybody where you're going to be.
Sure.
You're going to need either 5 cushions or just 5 objects, and they can be 5 things that you've got around you right now. A book, a diary, a candle, a stone, a piece of wood, whatever's there. So that when you lie on your back with your arms and legs spread out like a starfish, so there we have Jocelyn, so there's 5 cushions.
So well like a blanket there with 5 cushions all around, right?
And you're perfectly flowery and gorgeous. Basically, when you lie on your back, you've got your head on a cushion, both hands on a cushion, and both feet on a cushion, and you're spread out like a starfish.
Okay.
And those 5 cushions symbolize these 5 aspects of yourself that I'll introduce you to in a moment when we've stepped into the map. And you will find that you feel different in every place. And there's nothing right or wrong. It's just we're using what we call the gestalt of these cushions to shine light on these particular aspects of ourselves. So I'll just give you all another minute or so to create your little nest on the floor or the bed. And Jocelyn, why don't you arrange yourself on the floor and see how best you can do this so that your laptop is close so that we can hear your voice. Probably needs to be really in the circle with you.
Okay. And I have a kind of a beautiful flower image that I can put up on the laptop, if that would be nice to look at.
Is it the Tree Sisters map, or is it a flower?
Actually, no. You know what? Can I find that online fairly quickly?
If you go to treesisters.org.
Okay.
And then to explore on the main nav.
Mm-hmm. Is it the map of 5 choices?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I can definitely put that up. Let's see. Okay, great. This will be good. Let's see.
I won't be able to see you anymore. I'll be all alone in the room.
Let's see here. Okay, so there it is. And for those of you who are watching, if the video screen with Claire and with me is over top of the map, you can move that little video rectangle. You can move it to anywhere on your computer screen that you want.
So we've got a request here. Can you please repeat the instructions regarding the arrangement of the cushions? So basically, you're going to be lying on your back. You're going to have your arms and legs out wide like you are a starfish. So your legs are apart, your arms are apart, and you've got either a cushion under your head, both hands and both your feet. So the cushions are like arranged in a circle around you, the way that Jocelyn has just shown us. Or you've just got something that marks those places. So, you know, your book behind your head and a rock by your left arm and a sock by your left hand, or whatever you need, just to mark out so that you can journey around it, so that you can stand in each place. And you may want to sit on a cushion, which is why I'm saying cushions. You may just want to stand, in which case you can have anything. It's just marking out the positions of your map. I'm alone in the room. Left me.
I'm still
Okay.
here. So can you hear me okay like this?
Can you bring it a little bit closer to you?
Yeah.
Thank you, love.
Put it a little closer to my head here, and then I'll be.
Yeah.
Okay. How's that?
That's great. Thank you.
Sure.
So before we start, before we do anything, I'm just going to invite you all to grab a journal and a pen and just write the words, "What am I for?" ? And then without thinking about it, I'm just going to give you a minute to see what comes out of you in relationship to that question. Just, what am I for? And see what comes out.
And do you want me to share, Claire?
Sure, what comes?
Yeah, for me, I'm getting to heal. And wrapped up in that is a feeling of to heal myself, to heal others, to heal the earth.
Thank you, love. And again, there's no right or wrong, there's just what's true for you in this moment.
Right.
So I'm going to invite you all to step into the center of the map so that you're sitting in the center with your back to where your head would be. So in a sense, you're sitting in the center facing where your legs would be. And as you step in and sit down and make yourself comfortable, I'd like you to imagine that you are stepping into circle with men and women all around the world. And this is the beginning of our journey together. So in your mind's eye, as everybody steps in and sits down, they're appearing in circle. And in whatever way makes sense to you, you're just going to bow as a welcome. Because it is extraordinary precious when anyone shows up for this quality of exploration. Everybody's energy and presence and life experience matters that has shown up today. And so you're bowing to their bravery, their capacity to love, their weathering of storms, their willingness to grow. And I'd like you to imagine that you're reaching out and you're holding the hands of the people on your left and your right. And we're going to create a circle, a connected circle, and send our love and our gratitude down the left arm and clockwise around the circle so that we're all connected, all around the world. And just notice how that feels in your body. And so we've bowed to each other. I'd like you to bow to yourself, to the mystery that you are, to the so much more to you that there is than you have any concept of. To place your hands on the ground and bow to Mother, to Gaia, to the one who birthed us and feeds us, breathes us, lives us. To thank her. And then to open to Father Sky, Father Sun, to the illumination of consciousness that is the masculine principle. And for all of us to state our intention to grow in this moment, but only as much as is safe as is comfortable as you are ready for. So just ask life, give me as much as I am able to handle in this moment, as much growth as I am ready for. So that whatever comes up for you, if anything does come up for you inside of this process, it's manageable, it's appropriate, it's what you're ready for. So let's bow again to everyone in the circle and step into this process together. And I just invite you to lie down in the map with your head, your hands, and your feet, either pointing to the objects that you've got or on the cushions that you've laid out for yourself. And just breathe. Just start by really arriving and feeling the gravity that is holding your body to the floor. Like, let the feeling of your heaviness get louder. Let your mind move more into the physical so that you can actually listen to and receive the sensations in the body. Take a few deep breaths and really see if you can relax the top of your head, your cheekbones, your tongue, your jaw, your neck, your shoulders. Let your arms drop, your palms smile, your belly soften, the backs of your knees open. This is a very physiological journey. And the more you can let yourself feel your body, just feel it, feel it, feel it. And as change happens, give your attention to it, even if it feels uncomfortable. Just try and allow everything that happens. So I'm going to invite you to put all your attention into your left arm. And imagine that you are sitting on that cushion and that you're meeting this part of you. And the left arm in this map it's on the feminine side of the map. It's the in-breath of your heart. It's your need to love and be loved. It's your capacity for relationship, for relating. It's your desire to belong. It's how safe you feel to open your heart so that your heart can inform you what it needs, who these people are, how much you can open. It's the place of profound union and connection, and obviously also the place of profound separation and insecurity in its shadow. But as you sort of turn your attention to this part of yourself, I'd like you to, again, in whatever way makes sense to you, bow to this part of you. Bow to your heart's capacity to love. Honor that part of you with gratitude. There won't be a single one of us on this call that hasn't hit fear of opening to love, daring to love, risking to love, or that hasn't closed against its opposite. And we're all doing our best. But just for a minute, breathe in the quality of energy that is the in-breath of your own heart. And just notice its texture. So Jocelyn, if there was sort of 2 words that would describe that feeling, what would you say it is?
Um, it's a deep sensation. I'm not, the right words are not coming to me to
Okay,
describe it.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's warmth and depth there.
So we're just activating that part of ourselves, just sort of welcoming it to the party here. And then shift your awareness gently to your left leg. Also on the feminine side of this map. This is your body's capacity to feel itself as part of life. This is like your root system, your tap root into all that is. It's your physiological intelligence that recognizes that it's made of rain and rivers and rocks and grass and beasts and birds and everything that's ever lived, that you are now made of, stardust. It's your willingness to feel your relationship to all of life. It's your willingness to feel how all of life actually is. It's the key to the whole of the map, and it's the reason why humanity is struggling the way we are, because this is the most harmed part of ourselves. But we're just putting our attention there and noticing the sensation of that. Noticing what happens in your whole body when you put your attention to that part of yourself. And again, in whatever way you can, just bow, just give thanks, just be grateful for the fact that your body has survived everything that it's been through, and the fact that you have this opportunity to grow into connection with all of nature and recognize your indivisibility. So gratitude and acceptance for whatever is there. And I think rather than asking you for a report, a weather check at each point, Jocelyn, I'll just let you be in the experience. And again, shifting your attention now to your right leg. The right leg is the out breath of the body in the way that the left leg was the in breath of the body. The right leg is in the masculine, it's in the active. It's called responsibility. It's your ability to respond from both your left arm and your left leg, the feminine heart and body. Your right leg is your ability to respond. It's called responsibility. So as you put your attention there, just see how your body feels. This is your ability to respond to your heart's intelligence and to your body's intelligence. Or completely override them, not listen to this part of you. Do what we're forced to do in this culture, which is override everything to do what we're told. Or this is where we come into our strength to hold boundaries for ourselves, boundaries that honor our heart and our body. And then moving, well, first of all, again, just giving thanks for this strength in you, or acceptance for this difficulty in you. We all have both areas of these places where we're strong and areas where we struggle. But bowing to them, acknowledging them, honoring them as a way of including them, activating them, moving that energy, starting to move that energy. And then we're moving our attention to our right arm, which is the out breath of the heart. So in the same way that the left arm is the in breath, the right arm is the out breath. This is our courage. This is how we bring our gifts. This is how we live our light, live our purpose, bring our creativity to the world, dare to validate ourselves through our actions in relationship to our own hearts. And again, as you put your attention there, just notice what happens in your body. Some of us are safe here. Some of us are fearful here. Some of us have been battered and criticized. Some of us have been celebrated. It radically changes our experience of bringing our gifts to this world. But again, just say thank you. See if you can find your gratitude for this aspect of yourself. Like flooding love down that arm. Noticing this sensation of that. And there may be many very subtle sensations going on. Just don't try and understand anything. Just notice. It's like an acupuncture treatment. It's like different things moving around because your presence and attention is moving around. And so it's like you're lubricating change, but we don't need to try and control it. Your whole system is always trying to come back into balance. So finally, bring your attention to your head, the final point of this five-pointed star that you are. And your head in this map is the servant leader. It's the part of you that listens to the left-hand side of your body, listens to the feminine aspect of yourself, gathers information from your heart and from your body and from the environment that you're part of, so that it can then direct to your masculine side what the appropriate action is. This is your willingness to see things as they really are, to be truly honest with yourself about relationship, about your actions in this world, because this is how, when you are willing to receive your heart's wisdom and your body's wisdom, it's very hard to override them. So just for a moment, feel how much this feels comfortable or familiar to say, right, I will listen to my heart and my body, and I will take action appropriately. Left side of the body, right side of the body. Feminine serving masculine. And this is one of the big eye-openers for me when I finally said yes to doing Tree Sisters, that I began to realize that in this flow, from your head to your left arm, your head being the willingness to see things as they are, your left arm being the willingness to connect with others, to strengthen yourself in love, your left leg being your willingness then to feel yourself as part of nature and feel how things are, so that your right leg becomes your ability to respond appropriately to what you feel. And then your right arm becomes the place of then feeling for what is yours to do in this world. That then comes full circle back to your head to help the wake up for humanity to see how things really are. That in this natural flow of energy, clockwise around this circle that you are, the feminine actually comes first. The feminine principle is the root of our connected knowing. So you may want to grab your journal again. You may be too deeply in the experience now to want to move at all. But I'd just like you to answer the question again, either in your mind or on paper. What am I for? And Jocelyn, if you feel to answer in a moment or two, please do. And if you don't, just be where you are. What am I for? The words I heard in my head were revelation and discovery. What are you for? And if you're not writing, if you're just listening, listen with your whole body, and whatever the sensations are that are running through your body, just give them your full attention and your breath. Again, we're not trying to understand, we're simply trying to listen and feel. So just bringing that to a close. If you're writing, just find a way to end. If you're listening, I'm going to invite you to sit up again so that we're all sitting, again facing our feet or with our backs to our heads as they are on the mat. And I'm going to invite us to do something that may seem a little strange. Well, all of this may have seemed a little strange already, but this might seem even stranger. But humor me a minute, because this, if you get this in your body, it's so simple, but it can radically change your experience of how you live your life. So I'm going to invite you, when you breathe in, a long in-breath, to sway to the left, into the feminine side of the mat. And on the out-breath, to sway to the right-hand side of the mat. And to do it all together. So leaning over to the left and breathing in. Leaning over to the right and breathing out. Even in-breath and out-breath. Leaning over to the left and breathing in. Leaning over to the right and breathing out. Leaning over to the left. This is the feminine, receptive, listening side of your nature. Breathing out to the right. This is your active, responsive, doing side of your nature. Breathing in, feeling and listening. Breathing out, doing and executing, creating. So as you lean over to the left and breathe in, I'd like you to say to yourself, I feel how things are. And then as you sway to the right and breathe out, so that I know what to do. Breathing in to the left, I feel how things are. To the right, breathing out, so that I know what to do. And just do that a few more times. Just keep doing it until I talk again. Breathing in, I feel how things are. The feminine principle. Breathing out to the right, so that I know what to do. The masculine principle. And notice how your body is feeling with an easy, balanced, rocking motion. How's your nervous system feeling? How easy do you feel it would be to listen to yourself? To feel how things are. so that you know what to do. And just keep moving while you listen. Because what's happened in our world is the feminine principle has been devalued and devalued and devalued, and the masculine principle has been valued and valued and valued, maybe primarily because the feminine is mysterious and emotional and unquantifiable, and the masculine is quantifiable and therefore safe and understandable. Either way, productivity has become so much more our goal than rest, relaxation, relationship, love, and our ability to deeply tune in to the root of ourselves as part of creation, out of which a whole different set of actions would arise. So basically what we're doing is we're shortening the in-breath and we're extending the out-breath, because it's so good to be able to get so much more done, and we've got these to-do lists that are absolutely full, and we can triumph over the fact that we need less rest and less time off because we can accomplish more. So kind of halve your in-breath as you go to the left and extend your out-breath as you go to the right. And change it to, I'm gonna rest less so that I can do more. Breathing in a much shorter breath, I'm gonna rest less. Breathing out to the right so that I can do so much more. And notice what happens in your physiology. Because life is going to celebrate you for producing so much more, and it's going to celebrate you for doing even less resting. So then let's make the in-breath even shorter and the out-breath even longer. Because this is how our world is running right now. And for many of us, this is how we are running. We're taking barely any real quality in-breath time. And we are running as fast as we can and consistently feeling as if we're not getting everything done. And my nervous system is activated into fight or flight right now, so I'm imagining you're also uncomfortable. So let's just stop and just in silence feel what's happened to our bodies. Because this isn't just how we are classically operating and have been normalized to operate. This is how we're dealing with our world. We're barely paying attention to the fact of our indivisibility from nature and our complete dependence on nature. And we're leaning right over into the masculine, which is growth and globalization and expansion at any cost and chomping up our planet to make more and more and more. And we're burning ourselves and we're burning our planet out. Just out of interest, in this moment, just grab your journal and write the words, what am I for? And just see what comes. Just wanted to give you, in case anything came, just a moment. So just complete that. And then I'm going to invite you to turn your whole body to face what would be the right-hand side of your mat. So facing the masculine. So your head is on your right. So this is our current state planetarily. We've got our back to the feminine. We're not listening to the feminine side of ourselves. We're not listening to the wisdom of nature of which we are a part. We are fully focused on growth and production and expansion all of which are amazing and incredible if they're in direct relationship to the environment, which is the feminine. But when we're not in touch with it, we're pushing and we're forcing and we're driving. And this is what is normalized, and this is how life is on this planet. So just notice when you are in rejection of your own feminine and you are fully gung-ho in your masculine, facing to the right, what happens in your body? What happens to your sense of being able to listen and connect with all that is, your own internal guidance? Can you reach it from this position in yourself? And in a sense, what you're sitting in right now is your own shadow masculine. It's the dominant masculine, which is also in all of us. But from that place of just allowing what is, because we're just trying to get a little bit more awareness of what's happening inside ourselves, which we're usually unconscious of. Again, just take your journal and write. What am I for? Like, what is this aspect of you believe that it's for? And again, do not censor, just see what comes out. What are you for? No right, no wrong, just what comes. Just give you a minute. And Jocelyn, you may not have any words, but if you do, I'm just curious, what arises in answer to that question in this part of yourself?
Yeah, Claire, this is really going really deep for me, and I'll explain a little more later. But yeah, I'm just getting a lot of words like nonstop and nonstop production, work,
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah, it's relentless.
And it's very uncomfortable. Very.
Yeah. I'm hoping, I know that sounds a little sadistic, I'm hoping this is very uncomfortable for everyone.
Yeah.
Because actually this is the state that we've been normalized in, and I think that's why we're becoming so diseased as a species, one of the reasons why.
Yeah.
Because we have become numb to the radical imbalance that we're living inside of. And so what I'm trying to do in this process is make it conscious, so we can go, oh my God, this is the feeling that I have when I'm overriding myself.
Yeah.
So whatever you're feeling right now, this is so important to recognize. Okay, now this next movement may feel challenging, but again, I invite you to allow whatever arises. And if it's emotion, just let it come. So I'm going to invite you to turn completely 180, still sitting in the masculine, but fully facing your own feminine. Facing the side of you that you override, we all override, that we've been taught to override, and that has been overridden for generations, millennia. And I invite all of us to take a really deep breath and to just sit with and allow whatever feelings there are without any censoring or suppression. Noticing, feeling, breathing, allowing. This immeasurably sensitive, receptive, intuitive, instinctual, beautiful, subtle, fluid aspect of yourself that makes up half of your beingness. How does she look and feel to you from this dominant place? Can you let yourself receive her beauty and her subtlety? The receptivity that your tendency is to override, ignore. Can you let your heart break for what she has gone through? And I'm going to invite you to answer this, either speaking to her directly, literally speaking out loud, which I think is the best thing you can do in this moment, just to allow this to come through you without any censorship. If you don't want to speak it, write it. Why do you override her? So if you're speaking, just get it out of your mouth. I override you because, and see what comes. Same if you're writing. I override you because. And I'm going to give you about another 30 seconds. Again, whatever's happening for you is perfect. If it's a lot of emotion, let it be there. If it's numbness and shock, let it be there. If it's anywhere in between, it's fine. Just feel it. Whatever it is, feel it. And then take a deep breath. Stretch your body. And you're going to go and sit over in the feminine side of your beingness, probably between the cushion of your heart and your body, and face the masculine. So sitting on the left-hand side of the mat now, facing the masculine, the right-hand side. How do you feel? What happens for you? What comes up for you when you hear why the masculine side overrides you? The more fully all of us can feel this, the more we can all transform our lives. It's a lot to feel. Can you let yourself feel this? And can you give it words? Can you speak to the masculine in you how it feels to be overridden? When you override me, I feel. Speak it or write it, but if you can speak it, it will really move energy. All emotion welcome. If there's anger there, let it come. If there's grief, let it come. Whether we are men or women here, the feminine in us is under layers of bedrock, layered down over so many thousands of years. The more we can feel how that makes us feel, the more we can dissolve what is holding us back. Okay, I can begin to feel a softening in the collective fields. So I'm going to invite you to do the same thing again. Really stretch your body. Take a deep breath. And even if you feel like you're in the middle of something, just go back over, this time into the masculine, to the right side of the mat, and sit between the two cushions that are there. Courage and responsibility, the right arm and the right leg. So fully sit in the masculine and face the feminine. Just sit down, feel how you feel in your body first, and then turn your full attention to receive what she has just expressed in whatever way it came. Receive her. See if you can. Whether you have realized it or not, she makes sense of who you are. She is the root of all your knowing and your feeling. She is the root of all of your doing, if you want your doing to make sense in relationship to life. She is your gateway to connection. She is your gateway to your power. Her ability to tune into all of life creates a direct connection with limitless creativity. She literally is a creator of life. And the masculine aspect of us exists to husband that life into its fullness. So in this place, in the masculine, this time when you look at her, what relationship do you want with her? Who do you want to be for or with her? How do you want to show up for her? And just, again, see what comes out of your mouth. I want to be ... What? Do you want to keep overriding her? Do you feel like there would be value to listening to her? Do you feel that your whole beingness could be nourished and nurtured and watered by her wisdom and her intelligence and her creativity? And I wish we could spend hours doing this work together, but we need to move. So again, just take a deep breath and stretch your body. And for the last time, go and sit back in between the heart and the body on the left-hand side, facing the masculine to receive whatever it was that he just expressed within you. So moving back over, sitting yourself down, starting by feeling what's happening in your body right now. What's different? Maybe just the same, maybe just as upset, maybe just as numb. You may feel better, just notice. And breathe them in, like, can you receive this communication? And I'm going to ask you in this moment to extend your awareness to this whole circle of all of us here together who are all sitting in our feminine. And imagine again that you are reaching out and you are holding hands with the people on your left and your right. Which immediately makes me want to cry, feeling you all. And feel the strength of the collective feminine. Not because we need the masculine to honor or acknowledge us, because we ourselves can actually receive our own value as the feminine. We can call this up in ourselves. We can support each other to breathe our attention back into this part of ourselves that is the root of all our knowing. Connected knowing. And as you breathe yourself in the feminine, as you breathe the collective energy of the feminine, see if you can let yourself strengthen and straighten. This is our need for time out, to meditate, to relax, to tune into nature, to feel our bodies, to be slow enough to listen for what life is trying to tell us. This is our deep embodied spirituality, our nature consciousness, our absolute capacity to love and cherish, to honor, to forgive, to belong. This is the juice of our humanity and our world. So in this moment, even if you don't know what you're going to say, I invite you to start the sentence I choose, and just see what comes out of your mouth. And if you want to write it down again, write it down, stream of consciousness. But from your feminine, in relationship to your whole beingness, what do you choose for yourself? And I know that none of us want to rush this process. But you can return to this process again and again. And when you do it, you can stop the recorder and take as much time as you wish. But just take another minute to feel whatever you're feeling, speak whatever you're speaking. You might need to really move your body. And then I'm going to invite us all to stand up, stand in the middle of the map, and really shake your bodies, like really shake. Make noise if you can, but just move that energy, like shake it off. Shake, shake, shake. And when you think you're done shaking, shake even longer. And then lie back down, exactly as you started. Head on the head, arms and feet on those other cushions or pointing towards those other objects, back in the starfish. Just let this begin to integrate. Just rest. Just let the energy move around your body. Don't try and understand anything. This is like Shavasana after extreme yoga. You've just shaken the snow globe. Let the snow settle and discover the new landscape. And if moved to, ask yourself again the question, what am I for? And if moved, to write it down. And then I'm going to invite us all to imagine ourselves back in circle. You may want to stay lying exactly where you are. You may feel like you'll never ever get up again. You may be able to sit up again. If you need to lie, stay lying down. Don't push anything. But just to close sacred space, I'd like you to imagine this circle all around you of extraordinary beings that have just gone through this journey. Could all be in a multitude of different places inside themselves now. And again, just bow to all of them. Bow to the bravery, bow to the extraordinary life stories. Thank them all for their courage and their presence and all the ways in which the mystery that they are has just supported you to discover more of the mystery that you are. And bow to the mystery and ask the mystery that life continue to let this process unfold gently over the next few days for you. And to help you be gentle with yourself and nurturing and honoring with yourself. You may want to put your forehead to the floor as a gesture of completion. You may just want to rub your hands together and open your eyes. You may just need to be staying still on the floor. Jocelyn, I'll wait for you to find your way back to sitting and camera so that we can do the question and answer if you feel ready for that, when you feel ready for that. Just wait. No rush.
Yeah, I feel like I could stay on the floor forever.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, I'll start moving here.
Just gently. I mean, it may be that it's too deep an experience for people to want to have any questions or so let's just see. Just go steady.
Here I will come back here little by little. Here I am.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I am. This has been, I'll share my experience, and then I do want to, let other people share next very soon. But this went really deep for me, as I said, because I've been, just to be real open and honest, I've been pushing really, really hard to make this event happen. And other things, family things have come up that have been really difficult. And it's been, I have, in the last week, there's been so many things coming at me, very emotional things, a couple of them, from so many different angles in my life. And to have to pull this event together while all that was going on has been so intense. I can't even explain. So this just really helped me so much, because this is, and I'm sure I'll be processing this for days, but made me really take a step back and look at, what is it that I'm trying to create? What is it that I need to be doing? How can I better support myself in, as I do this work, which is so important to me. And I don't have a lot of answers yet, because it is just such a balancing act with some of the things that come up in life and some of the things we feel called to do. But I was really, really angry at my masculine side, really breaking down for a little bit there. I had it on mute because I didn't want to change anybody else's perception of their experience. But the word that came was crushed. Crushed. My feminine side is crushed. That's the word that came up. And so I don't want that to be. I don't want it to be that way. And I don't want to model that for my girls. I have 2 little girls, don't want to be modeling that for them. So, and this has been a really intense time. It's not always, I don't always feel it this intensely, but it's interesting, to have done this experience at a time when I'm feeling it all so strongly. And it was such a huge relief to, when we were facing the masculine and in the masculine, it was so uncomfortable, and even had pains all the way down my left side, up and down, pain, like physical pain, very uncomfortable. And to turn back to the feminine at that point, it was just like a flood of relief, even just in turning back and facing the feminine. So that was very interesting. That was very visceral. Yeah, so hopefully that hopefully that gives a little bit of what I experienced.
Thank you so much for sharing and being willing to get off the floor.
I'm still mostly on the floor, just sitting up.
On the Tree Sisters website, treesisters.org, on the Grow page, there is a selection. There's one little tab called the Callings, which is all the Facebook Lives I did in the last campaign. And number 8 is called the Swimming Pool, and it's a direct exploration of momentum, like the consciousness of momentum. Mm-hmm. Because what you've experienced, and I imagine 90 plus % of everybody will experience something of the same, because we are so encultured into that way of being. Like the momentum of drive, over, dominance is so profoundly normalized. Yeah. We have to understand why it's so difficult for us. I teach this stuff and I'm constantly overworking. I'm trying to birth an organization. It takes every ounce of me. Yes. And yet the organization is based on the restoration of the feminine. And it's like that faith, okay, if I take that time and I'm not attending to my to-do list and I'm not trying to raise funds and I'm not trying to do it, how will it get done? And it's like, wow, how do we do this? Yeah. And one of the things that we have to do is start by making what we've normalized uncomfortable enough so that we go less extreme, we come more to the center, and we're more in tune with, more willing to listen to our body, more willing not to have to be rendered sick before we stop, like sort of committed to waking up. Yeah. So I'm aware that we're actually at the end of your time here, but I know you said we could go over if people did have any questions or any sharings. So I've got time. I'd love to open it up. I can.
Sure. Yeah. Let's see if anybody does want to share your experience or ask any questions, please go ahead and raise your hand. Anne Marie is raising her hand, so I will bring her over. And we talked to Anne Marie earlier today. So let's see. Okay. Welcome back, Anne Marie. Hi.
Hi.
Hello. I can only see your chin.
Hi, sweetie. How are you, Claire? This was really intense. I have to say, the masculine, the way when you said to face the masculine, what I felt was, I got really angry, actually, just like Jocelyn said, but I felt something with the breath, like I can't breathe, like the breath is being taken away from my body. And that's how I experience it. And actually, that's very funny because in Kundalini yoga, which I practice, I started teaching it actually. I was called to really focus on the breath and to work with the breath in order to help people to balance, or help myself to balance my energies, and the breath seems to be the biggest part of my whole spiritual calling. What comes up for me when it came to the feminine, when you asked to face the feminine, was harmony and wholeness. I want wholeness, and I want harmony. And this is what she's trying to express through me. Connection and unity and oneness. These are all important things for me. So using the breath, and also one beautiful thing that came up was nurturing. The nurturing part is so important. I think, well, as female, we all have that aspect, but I'm speaking in terms of what we are called for, I feel personally that this whole experience is helping me to manifest in my calling the nurturing aspect of either giving it, helping people to experience what that nurturing feels like, and I feel like I have a very big heart. I feel like I have the space to hold that nurturing energy to support people in some way. So it was very, 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 very enlightening, this experience. I will continue to do it. But do you have any advice as for how the feminine could embrace the masculine? I know we're angry right now, but just to hold a space without going too much on one side or the other, just to balance the energy actually, and in a safe way, because I could sense in outside that there could be a shift of imbalance. I know the pendulum have to swing sometimes to the extreme to come back into balance. But I mean, what I'm trying to get at is so that we don't misinterpret too much of what is going on and then swing to the other side and then not really accomplish what we're trying to accomplish here, which is balance and wholeness and unity and harmony and all of this kind of thing. So thank you very much, and I'll just wait for your response.
Myself, before there was an echo, I just wondered if there's going to be an echo. Are we okay? No, that's great. Thank you so much for your just glorious self-awareness, and it's so satisfying hearing you. So thank you for, like, if you were the only person doing the workshop, I think it was worth it, just from what you've just shared. And I want to speak to everything that you've just said and then answer your question, or try and answer your question. I love that you could actually feel the suppression in your breath, because to me, the feminine principle, as I just described, is the in-breath. Like, it literally is our ability to imbibe life at its most fundamental level, and we have been crushed. And I think I know a lot of women who struggle with the in-breath, because being able to receive anything means you can let in so much of the harm that's been done as well. And so it can be so frightening to fully take an in-breath, because it's then frightening, because when you breathe in, you feel. And so there's got to be a real willingness to feel. And so often when we feel, the next thing is either rage or grief or fear or any of these things, because so much of the harm that's been done to women is sitting in our bodies, whether we've been physically harmed in this lifetime or not. Epigenetics, it's all there. Like, it hasn't been addressed. that's the role that all of us women that are here alive today, I think, are part of what we're doing, is being willing to address this so that it can start to shift. And I also love that you really landed the part about nurturing, and that's what's unusual about Tree Sisters. You know, Tree Sisters is a reforestation charity, but we water our women first. Like, the women are the gardens, and the women need watering because we need to be filled up. Like, the left-hand side of the map needs to be filled up before the right side of the map actually works appropriately. You know, so we have to self-nurture in order for our action to make sense, because if we're not nurtured, we're in that, you know, when we were doing the breathing backwards and forwards, we're in that nervous system overwhelmed fight or flight where you can't receive your own wisdom, and you'll just follow the crowd because you're just after safety, whatever's going to work. And so crowd mentality, the momentum of consciousness, number 8 on the callings on the grow page, the swimming pool, that we have to have huge compassion for ourselves. Like, we really have to have compassion for ourselves and understand that even though we can see what we're doing, why can't we stop it? You know, why can't we just go, oh, now I'm going to stop overriding myself, because that doesn't work. It's like there's this huge cultural push behind us, like a swimming pool where you've gone round and round and round and there's a current, and you suddenly go, oh, I'm going to just turn around and go the other way, but the current carries you. Like, you're swimming against the current. So self-nurture is a radical form of activism. Radical on our planet, for women and for men, but a lot for women. Advice on how to balance safely. Well, the most important thing, if possible, is radical emotional responsibility, which is understanding we're going to have to go through anger. It's an appropriate response to being trashed, burnt at the stake, drowned, subjugated, owned, told that we're nothing, used as, you know, sex objects. Like, it's an appropriate feminine response to be angry, because that counteracting no is like the wake up for our own internal masculine feminine that says, no, I will not be overridden anymore. No, I will not be misunderstood anymore. No, I will not, you know, no, actually, it ends now. Like, that energy has to come. But the place that we really need to work that energy through first is inside ourselves. And that's where women's groups are so necessary. It's like, we've got centuries worth of rage at the masculine, but we can't throw it at the men who are here now. It's not all theirs to receive. You know, yes, if you've got a thoroughly abusive partner, maybe he deserves some very strong no's, and then we have to figure out why we're with an abusive partner, and then we leave, you know. But it's, again, it's our responsibility to reclaim our own feminine. It's like to pour our energy onto that side of ourselves, so that as we strengthen, we're just no longer inclined to even attract the masculine shit into our experience, because we're not a match for it anymore. But it all arises from our own relationship to our own femininity. It has to start there. And we're all going to have to face how we override ourselves, and that balance inside of us of our own masculine and feminine is the starting place. You know, I've struggled a lot in my life. I had a very brutal upbringing, a very brutal father, and I've had a lot of rage at the masculine. If I hadn't, I don't think I'd have started Tree Sisters, because I wouldn't have felt the need to do something to support women to grow in our strength. It's like, it was my own healing. And I think the most profound thing for me was learning to own my own anger. When I got angry, taking myself away from men and beating the shit out of the bed, or, you know, lying on the ground and screaming my head off, or putting some music on, and realizing that 99% of the time my rage, once I could move it properly, or on the dance floor, even better, underneath it was grief. It was just grief. And all I actually needed to do was cry. And once I'd finished crying, I was okay again. And I could start to look at things as they were. Okay, they're doing their best, just like I'm doing my best. My internal masculine is doing his best, just like my internal feminine is doing her best. Like, that's why I wanted to start with gratitude and acceptance for everything. You know, we're all doing our best. That's it. Bottom line, all of us. Does that help?
Yes, it does. Absolutely. But I just had something come up while you were talking. How does forgiveness play into all of this? Because I've worked with forgiveness a lot, but forgiveness in terms of becoming deeply aware of how personally, how it's almost like putting myself in somebody else's shoes and recognizing that they are also coming from a space of pain, and also becoming compassionate. The compassion thing comes up where I understand it's not that I'm allowing or accepting the fact that the person have done me wrong, but I'm being compassionate with the whole situation. So I don't know how well does, in this case, does the forgiveness aspect work. But for me, I've used it and I find that it was successful.
I think forgiveness is the ultimate healing balm, and I don't think we can get there until we've got there. I don't think you can force forgiveness. I think it arises when you've fallen into sufficient personal compassion. Like, because when you've fallen into personal compassion, then you can have compassion for that person. That was actually the best they could do. It may have been awful, but it was the best that they could do. I think it all has to start with ourselves. Like, it has to start from our relationship with ourselves, our capacity to forgive ourselves, have compassion for ourselves, just be with what is, because if we can't accept ourselves, we can't accept the other.
Absolutely. Totally agree with that.
Yeah, and it can take years to forgive, and you have to accept that about yourself, or you can suddenly wake up one day and it's done. Sometimes I think it's an incredibly mysterious process. But essentially, acceptance, I think is the first step. Like, seeing it all, realizing everyone's doing their best. I watched myself when I heard about the most recent bombings in England. I'm in California, but I'm English, and I had this thought, wow, those terrorists have got the biggest hearts on the planet.
Wow.
Their capacity for anger and hate is as strong as their capacity for love. You can't have one without the other. But they've been so wounded by something. Something has been so intense that the only thing that matches that intensity is death. But all action actually comes from love.
Yes.
They have to love something so deeply to want to die. And so it's so easy to just judge and throw judgment. And I'm just aware we're really running out of time here. We probably ought to let somebody else have it. But just to say, it's very easy to judge. And I think we have to have a much bigger perspective on the fact that all of us, no matter how nutty we show up, we're doing our best. We're doing our best. And processes like this hopefully help us to have a bit more self-awareness, and we can step into it again and again and sort of go, oh, this has moved. Okay, like, do you want to grow? Okay, let's just step in again. This was really hard. I didn't want to do it. Okay, step in again. Like, thank you so much for your
Thank you very, very, very much. It's been awesome. I just wanted to quickly say one thing. That the feminine anger in me wanted to say that she gave birth to all that is. That's what came up very, very strongly. She wanted to say that. So, peace and love to everyone.
Thank you, Anne-Marie.
You're welcome.
I have one thing that's coming up really strongly for me, and I want to try to get to one more person who's raising their hand too, if we can. But the idea of soul contracts, so with the idea of forgiveness, it's that, and I've done some work around this, where we need to accept that even when people have hurt us, we agreed to that. We even set that into motion before we were born in order to learn or reach a higher level of consciousness or whatever it is that we need to do in this lifetime. And so this is all getting into the idea of acceptance, right? Acceptance and forgiveness. And even what's happening to the planet right now, as and this came up in Gary Bobroff's talk yesterday, that it's all part of kind of a necessary evolution. It's all part of a process that we need to go through in order to get to where we're meant to be. We needed to see this shadow, this dark, dark shadow that we're in right now.
It's not going to go anywhere unless we deal with it.
Fully open to the light, right? So, yeah, that was coming up for me there, and I wanted to share.
Well, and even if people don't believe in soul contracts, you know, I believe in a vibrational universe. Like if something is coming into my life, it's because I am a match for it energetically. Mm-hmm. So if somebody shows up in a really abusive way to me, it is because that matches some need I have in order to have that experience. Like if my definition of love, because childhood was so traumatic, is love equals trauma, then I'm going to keep attracting trauma to me because that's my definition of love. Mm-hmm. That's a match for me until I've dislodged sufficient trauma to have a different vibration which will attract a different thing. Mm-hmm. You know, and what we're doing to the planet, it's like, it's a reflection of our consciousness. Until our consciousness shifts, we'll just keep doing this. It's like, this is the root of all of it. Yeah. Saw some lovely comments coming in. So far, yeah. Nobody said, that's rubbish.
Do you mind if we take one more person's question?
No, of course. Sorry, I can't answer very succinctly.
Oh, no, it was a beautiful answer. Okay, so this is Ibtisam. I have your name finally. I'm going to bring you over here. And, okay, welcome, Ibtisam. Welcome back.
It was a very, very profound experience.
Oh, I can't hear you.
Yeah, we can't hear you very well.
Sorry. Oh, gosh, I think I'm going to change. I was on the floor. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Right. It was a profound experience. I just want to do two things that were coming up. We were talking about forgiveness, and in my personal journey for the last 2 years, I'm discovering more and more that forgiveness is more a consequence of the process of allowing. You can't force it, you can't speed it, you can't do anything. It's going to take its time. It's like Mother Earth. It's going to take time to heal her. You can do whatever you want. You're not going to be able to rush this process. You have to be patient, keep on allowing, keep on doing a lot of breath and supporting and nurturing. My experience, and now it's coming to me more and more about this whole, what Gary said yesterday to me about doing that masculine bit with me, because I think I was truly in touch with my feminine. And it's the masculine, when you told us to face that, I actually went into deep stillness. It was a very different, when people were talking about being uncomfortable, I felt a very deep sense of stillness, of feeling, going deep within, taking stock, feeling very contemplative, a very different experience. Though my back was hurting, it felt this needs to be done.
Where were you? In the feminine or the masculine?
No, in the feminine, my experience. In the masculine, that was a very different, when Justine was saying that, she was very uncomfortable. Mine was a very deep, still process. I actually felt very empowered. I felt I needed that in me almost. And it felt, when I moved to the feminine, I was just sobbing. I just cried my eyes out. I was like, I kept on saying sorry to her because, and when you said, why did you ignore, or what was the word you used?
Override
her. And it was because she didn't speak up. She just didn't speak up. And, like what Anne-Marie said about nurturing, and I just felt there were like thousands of seeds on the floor and they didn't get a chance to grow. It felt like, I'm so sorry I couldn't protect you. I think, and that's why I think the masculine was so important, because funny thing is with the leg movement as well. The leg in my the left leg was very sort of in like a dancer's position. It was very horizontal, and in the masculine, it was like as if I was pressing a brake in the car, like I have to put a stop to this. So it almost felt, it felt a very strange experience. One was feeling very lyrical, very beautiful, like, I'm about to dance. And the other one was saying, this has to stop. I just felt a surge of, even if I can't do anything, I will not allow it anymore to happen. I think that was a very strong masculine thing, which it felt very good to get the masculine in. I'm going to put a stop to this shit. Thank you.
I am so touched by you. You're so beautiful. And I never know, like I do my best to try and communicate what I'm trying to communicate on these things, and I never know whether, like, I always tend to over explain, and then if I don't over explain, I'm worried that people won't get it, and I worry that they won't get that I'm saying both the masculine and feminine are completely crucial to each other.
Yeah. And
that the masculine in us is there to husband appropriately those thousands of seeds that sit inside the feminine, that we are that life, and without proper husbanding, we do get squashed. Like it kind of, there's a way in which the left leg, to me, on one level of the map, it's the vagina. And like, it's the entrance to the womb, because the center of the map is the womb. We didn't talk about that today, but the center is literally life, all future generations, the planet, it's the womb. And when you think about how tender and sensitive the vagina is, like that is the subtle texture of life in the entrance to its creative portal. It's like, that's how the feminine needs to be treated, like with that level of sensitivity. And how far away from that are we? But how far away from ourselves as women are we to treating ourselves as that delicate and that sensitive? And that's why it has to start with us, like really being able to find our own masculine to say, no, this needs to grow, this needs to be nurtured, I need to water myself, I need to tend myself, because all my knowledge and brilliance comes through this, and the masculine side of us is there to simply husband it into its fullness. Like, I really believe that the human species is, if we can readdress the balance between the masculine and the feminine, which is so radical because the feminine needs to come first, it's a complete reversal, which is not women are better than men or the feminine is better than the masculine. It's not. There's just a relationship that perpetuates life and brings everything into its fullness, rather than a relationship that trashes everything. So I'm going to be radical. I just really want you to become a tree sister. Like I so love your energy, and so would love your wisdom inside of our movement. Like I'd
be honored.
I so long for everybody to understand what you've just understood and have felt, and I deeply appreciate your energy and how you communicated that. And
yeah, the funny thing is, one thing that was consistent in everything, every time you said, I want, what did you say? What am I for? And every time I began that, it was all, every first word was always connection.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. We need to end, don't we?
So yes, and I know our next speaker is on and waiting. So, but yeah, I do want to share about your free gift and your invitation. So I'm gonna put in the chat right now a link to the free gift. So everybody who is watching, you can experience more of Clare's brilliance in the Dance into Power. And that's what this link is to here. Do you want to say a couple words about that, Clare?
Well, just very briefly, it's a dance around the map. So it's another way. I mean, there are different places. If you also go to the Tree Sisters website, onto the Grow page, you'll see deep dives and dances is one of them. And walking the map is there. Like, there's different ways that you can use this tool. The Dance into Power is is a movement-based movement around the map, again, to activate. So all this is like acupuncture, as I said, these are different ways to activate your energy and unleash your energy to bring us back into balance. And lastly, Jocelyn gave me permission, but I know I have to go here, is just to invite all of you to become Tree Sisters. It's to say, this is a movement of women who are reinstating the feminine principle in ourselves and life, and looking at creating a restorer consciousness that restores the consciousness of care and stewardship ecologically, that no longer sees a separation between us as people and our planet, and who make it normal to literally start reforesting so that we can re-robe our mother Gaia in green as she is supposed to be. So please, treesisters.org, please come and join us and become part of the family, become part of the awakening, and find your belonging in this tribe of ours. It's very beautiful. Thank you, Jocelyn, so much. I'm sorry you don't get to have much gap after a really intense experience. Oh my God.
Okay.
That was interesting planning. You're going to be exhausted after all of this. I need a week off.
Yeah, it's all right. I'll have a few days off. It'll be good. So, and I want to mention that the link to join Tree Sisters is also in the chat now. And for anyone who's listening to this as a recording afterwards, you'll see the video that you're watching, and right below that is the link to the free gift and the link to join Tree Sisters, so everybody knows where to find that. So yes, thank you, Claire, so much. A million thanks. This has been so beautiful, and just really, really a lovely experience for me and for everybody. So thank you.
Well, and please return to it. Please use it again. And know that next time you return to it, you can just press pause and take as long as you want in each place.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so
much. Love to all.
Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. All right, so everyone, we have Ilarion Merkuliev is going to be our next speaker, and Ilarion, I'm going to bring you over on the video now, and